Ready to go? Welcome, everybody, to Bird's Nest Stadium in beautiful Georgetown, Kentucky for Friday Night Football. We're just a few minutes behind a late-arriving bus from North Oldham as the Mustangs coming in to play the Great Crossing Warhawks. Week 2 of the football season. It was a productive, high-powered start in all three phases for the Warhawks a week ago as they defeated Western Hills 50-2. That's right, 2 points, and in fact 2 yards allowed in that game in the BGO Battle of Elkhorn Creek. First season opening win in the brief history of the program, and they will try to make it 2 in a row against a North Oldham team that struggled pretty significantly on the offensive side of the ball. So they're facing a Great Crossing defense that's coming in off, putting up some record numbers, and now North Oldham only had a field goal in its loss to Hart County, 24-3, put up fewer than 100 total yards. I'm Cal Oakes here with Coach Paul Raines. And, Coach, if you're North Oldham coming in like that, do you rethink anything at all about what you do offensively, or do you just kind of try to stick to what you know this early in the season and see how it goes against this this Great Crossing team that looks pretty strong?
Well, one thing for sure is most your football teams, they're going to improve more from week 1 to week 2 to week 3 than any other part of the season. So we may see a much improved North Oldham team here tonight.
That is for sure. It's still early. I mean, you figure both teams, most teams in the state had a couple of exhibitions. Great Crossing only had one, in fact, had its second one wiped out due to weather. So, and of course, a lot of moving pieces again in this football season for all schools. So we're about to have the national anthem here. We'll get back to more about this game on the other side of it. Thank you for joining us. Another great job by the Great Crossing Band. Great crowd here tonight. Again, good to see after we got so used to seeing a lot of mostly empty stadiums last year. We've got a bunch of middle school football players here tonight, the band, the dance team, the whole 9 yards. We're happy to have you all with us as well. Great Crossing, as we mentioned, coming in off an impressive win last week, 50-2. Over Western Hills. Just a lot of playmakers on display in that one, both offensively, defensively, on special teams, and that big offensive line, many of them 3-year starters now. Coach, you were here day one. I remember literally day one when we were over at Georgetown College. You guys didn't have a field to practice on. I remember you saying that day, we've got equipment being delivered every day, and we don't really have a building to store it in yet. This is the time of year we see a lot of proud parents posting back-to-school pictures, and you've got to have a little bit of that proud parent feel as you were here part of this program, guiding it through that initial season 2 years ago, and to see what many of the same kids have developed into has got to be great for you.
It is great. You know, the story was back then is that we had a semi-truck that delivered football equipment, sleds and everything else, somewhere in Scott County.
Somewhere.
And nobody knew where the semi-truck delivered the equipment. We looked all over the campuses of Scott County schools, but it's changed a whole lot. You know, I just sit here marveling at just the number of players because we really wasn't sure we were even going to have a team that year. It was that we were so shorthanded in certain positions and everything. There was times where I thought if we lost one or two kids, we would have to forfeit. It was that bad. But some of these boys I don't even recognize anymore. They have grown up and grown out and filled out. The weight room has been very good for them, and I'm really impressed what Coach Bowen and the staff has followed up over the last 2 years and have been able to do here.
Yeah, you mentioned the weight room. They had it going into year 2, but of course there were so many restrictions in place. It was hard to get everyone here to use it and get them on a focused program. But in this past winter and spring, everything got transformed here, and it's almost like they finally get a chance to dig their feet in now.
Yeah, and it's great to have the fans here tonight and the bands and everything else. All that was so sorely missed last year, and hopefully we'll be blessed with being able to play each week this year and get a full schedule in.
That's what we're all rooting for. Of course, last season, a promising step forward for the Warhawks. They went 3-4 in the regular season, lost at Douglas in the playoffs, but they've got that wheel spinning much earlier this year with the win in week 1. And if you didn't join us last week, you're going to see a couple of guys that pretty much have some national notoriety for this team. Caleb Perry has committed to the University of Tennessee. He's kind of the playmaker back there in the secondary. You'll also see him do a variety of things on offense. And then Orion Fisher, they'll line him up on the edge, and he'll just be in the backfield most of the night. He's been pretty much unblockable at times this past couple of seasons.
Yeah, I watched him last week, and Perry is just such an athlete and so smooth out there with such speed. He doesn't even look like he's running full speed half the time because he's such a good athlete. And then Fisher is so rangy on the defensive side of the ball; it's hard to do anything with him.
I liked Coach Bowling at the media day for the Battle of Elkhorn Creek said the only thing with Caleb is sometimes you like to kick him in the rear end and say, could you be mean for a minute? Because he's such a nice kid. And it's hard to maybe bring that out of him sometimes. As we see a couple of the older players on this team bringing some young kids onto the field, some special guests before the game. We're going to have, if we haven't already had the coin toss, we're about 2 minutes away from action here at Birds Nest Stadium, as we're just about going to start at the appointed hour of 8 o'clock. We were delayed by half an hour, as we mentioned, as North Oldham arriving late. Not an easy place to get from on a Friday afternoon, as are many places in the Louisville and Lexington areas of Kentucky. So not a surprise with the weather that we had as well, that we had some issues as the Warhawks take the field. Get to start at home 2 weeks in a row, and that's always a good luxury to have early in the season, isn't it? You kind of don't have to worry about all the travel and the things that North Oldham had to deal with today, for instance.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to be at home, and you got such a great crowd here at Great Crosses. The student section has just been. I look down there now, and they're out in full force. They call them the kettle, I guess, and. So to get to play in front of your own fans these first 2 weeks and everything is really a nice position to be in.
Yeah, that's another factor too. That this Great Crossing hasn't had a chance to build that kind of community. The Kettle's been great at the games they've been allowed to go to, whether it was in year 1 or the start of this year. But kind of the spring season wiped out 2 years ago, and then the entire school year really affected by COVID last year. So to have that element going for you as a home team is pretty nice, and we'll see if it helps. Certainly the Warhawks didn't look like a team that needed all that momentum last week. They have generated plenty of it on their own. As we'll see if they can go 2-0 tonight. They'll be facing the Mustangs, a 4A school out of North Oldham, coached by Jamie Brown. As we said, they were held beneath 100 yards last week. The main primary running back was Benjamin Becerra. Their quarterback is Jace Bullock. He's a sophomore. His favorite receiver is Liam Hudson. Hudson caught 4 passes. He also intercepted 3. So quarterback Gabe Nichols of Great Crossing will have to be wary of that. But he's got himself some good targets in his own right. We mentioned Caleb Perry. Of course, you're going to watch for Jacob Coulter and Peyton Harris as well tonight. North Oldham will kick off, going from left to right on your TV screen if you're joining us on the NFHS network or on your imaginary field on your radio dial.
Cal, I wonder how this week's of practice may affect play tonight. You know, there's been a lot of teams that's had to postpone practice till late in the evening. I saw where some of the Lexington schools,
the heat has been
practicing
pretty
at
serious.
6 a.m. Some of them were getting up and practicing. So I know Coach Vanderpool was a little concerned with just things being erratic and so on.
Coaches certainly love continuity and schedules that are reliable. The kickoff bobbled back there, picked up at the 17. Maybe a little over pursuit by North Oldham, and in the open field, knocked down just before midfield. The ball's out, but I think he's going to be marked down. Whistle dead at the Great Crossing 49. A great return to get it started. I didn't see if it was Coulter.
I think it was Coulter.
I think it was Jacob Coulter, number 18 back there, that followed up on his own little bobble there and got some good yardage out of it as the Mustangs kind of overran him. He got himself back out for a return of more than 30 to set it up. 1st and 10. And great field position was a key last week as well. So always good when you can give your offense that short field. Gabe Nichols, we mentioned the junior quarterback. He missed all of last season with a knee injury. Looked sharp last week, 4 for 8. Made a lot of those completions early in the game as they set up some nice makeable throws for him. He'll look to throw here. Now he'll get rushed and have to tuck it in and settle for the loss of 2 as North Oldham gets the combined sack.
That was a good decision by Gabe right there. If he'd have thrown that ball, it was picked. The free safety, they just sat on it. Looked like they were recovered too to start with, but as soon as the ball was snapped, the safeties moved up almost into a robber position, and he would have had a pick if Gabe turned that loose.
He made the pump fake right, kind of looked left, and the pocket collapsed on him by that time. His good penetration into the backfield for the Mustangs. Their defense played well last week, gave up 24 points to Hart County. They're facing some top-notch athletes here on the Great Crossing side. It is 2nd and 12. Nichols will look to throw again. He'll fire it out to Harris. He caught it on a hop. It's incomplete. Barely a forward pass. I think they will rule it a forward pass and mark it back at the 47. 3rd and long. So not a quick start offensively for the Warhawks.
How this secondary is playing very aggressive up toward the line of scrimmage. I don't know. Great Crossings may be able to go over the top.
When you got a guy like Perry, you're tempted to do that a time or two.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You can just throw it up and let him go get it. He is split out to the right. Mason Wiley, the man in motion. Nichols will throw again. He will look over the middle in the left flat. It is high and broken up. The intended receiver was Coulter, and Luke Canfield was there with the good coverage, and it'll be a 3 and out for the Warhawks to start this with 10:58 remaining, first quarter.
Can't miss opportunities like that. He got both hands on it. He's got to bring that one down.
It was a touch high, but he could have brought it in. I think he heard the footsteps behind him, knew he was going to take a shot. Don't know if it would have been enough for the first down. And Great Crossing will punt it away. Scored on their first 4 possessions at least last week. Might have even been more than that. Good kick as it goes out of bounds. Nicely angled inside the 15. It'll be marked at the 14. So the Warhawks special teams does its job, and the defense will go to work as North Oldham will see its first possession of the night with 10:44 remaining first quarter. No score. Over in Lexington, Scott County scored first at Lafayette. It is 7-0. Jeremy Hamilton, 60-yard catch from Andrew Hickey. Hickey, the freshman quarterback. Hamilton, the senior all-purpose back receiver returner. He was the story last week. He had both the touchdowns on returns in the 43-14 loss to Franklin County. North Oldham lines up in the shotgun. Spread formation. They will hand it off up the middle. Gain of about 5 off of left tackle. Looked like Becerra. They averaged less than a yard per carry last week. I think a lot of that was due to quarterback sacks that kind of cut into their net yardage. It'll be 2nd and 5 from the 19 for the Mustangs. Out of the 4th district of Class 4A. They have not had a winning season since 2014 when they went to the semi-state round of the playoffs. Quick swing pass here. Won't gain much. They'll get it out to the 20.
Maybe
good gang tackle there. Yeah, he'll get a yard. It'll be 3rd and 4. As Perry was right there with others. Looked like Drake Bird as well. Receiver was, of course, not listed on my KHSAA roster. No market at the 21s. It'll be 3rd and 3. Got a lot of options here on short yardage on 3rd down. A lot of negative plays created by that great crossing defense. And here's another one on a bad snap. It'll be as good as a sack as the quarterback will have to cover it up. And North Oldham will be forced to punt. So both teams 3 and out to start this one. That's the thing about the spread for me is you're always taking that shotgun snap. I suppose once you get used to it, it's no different than being under center. But it seems like a lot can go wrong, especially in short yardage. Benson will kick from his own end zone. Or just outside of it. Good snap.
Whoa.
Almost just barely got it away as Fisher was right there in his grill. Plenty of time for Bird to set up a return. He will pick up about a dozen and into North Oldham territory at the 41. So again, good field position for the Warhawks. 8:40 remaining first quarter. I'd like to thank some of our sponsors here on the Bird's Nest Broadcasting Network. Bluegrass Orthopedics, serving athletes of all ages. My employer, Georgetown News Graphic. Subscribe. We publish every Tuesday and Friday and 24/7 online at news-graphic.com. We are Scott County's 24/7 news source. DMK CPA, Denise M. Keene, for your tax and auditing needs. Brickhouse Properties Real Estate, buying and selling made easy. Chick-fil-A, home of the original chicken sandwich. Toyota Motor Manufacturing, Kentucky. Clark's Pump and Shop, 3 locations in Georgetown. Return, refresh, refuel. Georgetown Community Hospital, where your health and safety remain their first priority during a pandemic and always. As Great Crossings offense goes to work for the second time, they'll mark it at the 42. North Oldham jumps. That's going to make it 1st and 5. The hard count work there from Gabe Nichols.
I look for Great Crossings to run the ball. We got 3 passes in a row, so we may see it on the ground here and let them test that out a little bit.
Especially with the success they had last week. Mekhi Wilson had 87 yards on 8 carries and 2 touchdowns. Jaquise Patterson had 101 yards on 8 carries and 2 touchdowns. Wilson starts the game in the backfield, and he indeed will get the ball. Flag comes in from behind. It probably will be a hold. Wilson would have the first down otherwise.
I don't have the roster here in front of me, and I really can't even see the numbers, pal. But North Oldham looks a little small on the interior line there. Both the defensive guards are not very big, so we may be able to have some success. Great Crossing might have some success running that ball up the pipe.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because off the air we were talking before the game. I looked down their roster, and they do not have a ton of big strapping guys. I think I counted 3 on the entire roster that are more than 220 pounds, as this will be a holding penalty against the Warhawks. And now, is that a sideline warning they're talking about? Or I don't know what they're marking off here. Or if it was unsportsmanlike. Looked like he made an unsportsmanlike conduct signal after that. And then at any rate, we're going to mark it off against GC, and it will be 1st and long at the 49 of North Oldham. Getting back to that point, they've got 2 linemen that are 255, and then they've got another one that's 268. Everyone else on the roster is 222 and under. So it is not a lot of size, and you are right. North Oldham's numbers are hard to see. Great Crossing wearing the home greens tonight with the big white numbers. They'll give it again to Wilson up the middle. He is stacked up for no gain, maybe even a loss of half a yard.
And on the tackle, number 33, Davis, number 69, Vance.
Michael Davis made the tackle for North Oldham along with Tyler Vance. Vance is one of those 220-pounders. He's a linebacker. Second down and 17. There's not been the efficient offensive start for the Warhawks this week. It was a different type of vibe last week with Western Hills. They were certainly shorthanded and young with what they had on the field as a result of a bunch of different circumstances. And the handoff there, if Wilson just lost his footing and went to a knee, and he'll lose a couple more yards. So it'll be third and even longer, close to 20. Call it, yeah, it will be 20. They will mark it back at the Great Crossing 48, and they've got to get to the North Oldham 32. So what's in your playbook here, Coach?
It's always tough on the 3rd and 22s. I would try to get the ball in Caleb Perry's
I would
handoff.
say when you've got number 8 on your roster, it's good to try something. He gives you some flexibility. Wiley in motion, they will just hand it off to Wilson to be safe, and he will get tripped up just inside the 50. Great Crossing's going to punt for the second time, so 6 offensive plays have gone mostly nowhere. In fact, this one went backward. Clock rolling with 6:50 to play in the opening period. We have no score here at Bird's Nest Stadium.
North Oldham's defense is not looking bad at all. They are a little small, and I checked the roster. It looked like they're about 180, 190 inside there, and but they're fairly scrappy, and they've got some quickness about them, and I think it's giving Great Crossing a little problem right now. The first pass play, he had about 4 guys hit him before he ever had time to set his feet back there. And
Perry with another terrific punt, and it is down inside the 2. And the Warhawks special teams getting it done as North Oldham just not getting any field position to play with. Drake Bird was there. As Bird makes the play to pin the Mustangs. 1st and 98.
that could be huge right there.
It was huge last week. That was what cost Great Crossing its only points. A punt like that backed them up, and a couple of bad snaps, and the safety was in play. North Oldham goes back to work with 6:23 on the clock, first quarter, no score. In the shadow of the goalposts on the Scott County Veterinary Clinic end of the field. They will run it off right in and get over the 5-yard line. It's Cooper Benson. He's a freshman, only 137 pounds. So both weeks, the opposition has brought some young kids in here to get on the field early in their varsity career. 2nd and 6 from the 6 as we are halfway through the opening period. No score. They're in the second quarter in Lexington. It is still 7-0 Scott County over Lafayette. This one started a little late due to weather/bus issues. A loss here as the Great Crossing defense snuffed that one out. Number 56, Trey Combs. He is a load in the middle, and he was the first one on the scene there.
3rd down. Here we go.
3rd and 8, and you just got to try to gain something if you're North Oldham and not have to punt from the back chalk line. As the Jaws music roars over the PA. We heard that a lot last week as it was 3rd and forever quite often for Western Hills. I would venture to say probably half their offensive plays in the game went for negative yardage. Now we've got too much time. That's going to back them up even farther. Half the distance to the goal will go from the 4 to the 2, and it will be 3rd and 10. So whatever yardage North Oldham gained with that first running play has been lost, first by the TFL for Trey Combs, and now the penalty. Under the 5-minute mark here in the opening period between Great Crossing and North Oldham. The Warhawks 1-0, the Mustangs 0-1. There is no score tonight.
I look for something pretty safe right here. I don't think I'd be trying to throw it out my end zone in this situation with Fisher as a rusher over there. And
you just got to get some forward motion. Here
Perry,
comes Perry on the end.
Perry.
And they do stack it up for a safety, I do believe. No signal yet. There it comes. 2-0 Warhawks. I think Orion Fisher was the first one there.
There was nothing there.
You saw it coming.
There was 4 players probably hit him at the same time. 2 yards deep in the backfield.
Chase Little was there as well, along with Fisher.
So that could be a turning point. We mentioned that the fact having the ball that deep into the field is a tough place to come out. Real easy to give up some points when you're in that kind of field position.
Yep. It is hard to dig out against this defense. The great punt from Caleb Perry and the heady play by Drake Bird to bury it at the 2-yard line were what created that situation.
See if we can get Great Crossing's offense in gear here. We've not yet to have a first down, so we need to get a nice little balanced attack and move those chains and see what will happen.
They've had good field position around midfield both times. Haven't been able to do anything with it, but get a little momentum from your defense, and it's funny how things can turn around for your offense sometimes.
Yes, it is.
Two 2-0 as the defense puts Great Crossing on the board. The long kickoff mishandled, now picked up. The second time this has happened, it's allowed Great Crossing to get a little bit of a running start and gain some yardage. This time, North Oldham kind of held back and cut its losses a little bit. They will down Coulter at the 38.
Not the best kickoff coverage there. They kind of both times have opened up the middle and they've kind of run around the wall on both sides.
I think North Oldham was wary the first time that they bolted right past Coulter and gave him some open field. So this time they kind of just went into almost a prevent kick coverage, if you will. And they kind of conceded 20 yards. And that's where Nichols will go to work at the 38. He'll take the shotgun snap, hand it off inside. Nothing doing there as the run defense has been superb so far. Tyrus Cobbins getting his first action of the year as he didn't carry the ball last week. No gain, 2nd and 10. Want to thank West Banco, by all accounts better, and Greens Toyota of Lexington. Great people, great cars. Think Greens, as well as Ozer Paint and Flooring, your hometown paint and flooring connection. Ozer Paint and Flooring will present tonight's Player of the Game award later on. 2nd down and 10, 3:52 and rolling on the clock. Great Crossing trying to build on a 2-0 lead. Special teams and defense have been the story so far. And there's another flag.
I believe the blocker may have turned upfield a little bit quick there.
Cobbins will spin and stutter step for some yardage, about 7 or 8, but it will come back, I do believe. Tough start offensively for Great Crossing. Some self-inflicted stuff with the penalties. Nichols getting the play. He was a little slow to do that a couple of times last week. Coach Bowling said that just the learning curve of a new starting quarterback who was a little bit nervous for his first varsity start. And as the game went on, that kind of got minimized. It wasn't such a problem anymore.
2nd and long.
2nd and 15. The down and distance situations have not been favorable so far tonight for the Warhawks. Their best weapon has been Caleb Perry punting the ball twice inside the 15 and once inside the 5. Thanks to Drake Bird. There's Cobbins again, and he will lose more yardage.
That defense is feisty down there.
They are not. They don't have any bus legs. We said they arrived at 7:20 for a delayed 8 o'clock kickoff, but they are not showing that they are any worse for wear from that. 3rd and 17 for Great Crossing as the clock ticks down to 3 minutes remaining in the opening quarter. Coulter split out to the left, Perry on the right. Single setback is Cobbins. They will throw it to Harris, and they read that one. Beautiful play there defensively by North Oldham's Joel Simpson. He's a senior, only 156 pounds, but he took out Harris as soon as he made the grab for a loss of 4. 4th and forever. Perry will punt for the 3rd time. Still no first downs for the Great Crossing offense tonight.
You know, I mentioned it before the game, and of course we're up here up top, but I don't see Coach Rob Smith down there tonight, so I don't know
Interesting.
if that's going to affect line play or not.
It's tough when you
What a
don't.
punt.
Yes, Caleb has just been on point with the punts. They catch it and fall forward. Cooper Benson smartly didn't let it bounce, because the way things have been going for North Oldham tonight, it would have taken a huge Great Crossing bounce.
There's Coach Smith. I think I see
You found
down
him?
there. Yeah.
That's good to know, because as we said before the game, we're in that time where if someone's missing, you automatically think maybe they're in quarantine or something. So. 1st and 10, North Oldham at the 38. That's their best field position of the night. Neither team with a first down to this point, and we're 10 minutes into this one.
I've been fairly impressed with North Oldham's defense. I've said it a couple times. They're a feisty bunch. They're not very big, but they've got good quickness and they're scrappy. And secondary is really pressing up onto the screens and the bubble passes.
Scott County has jumped on top 14-0 at Lafayette. Touchdown by Montego Jones. There's a positive run for the initial first down of the night for either team. It comes from North Oldham and gets the Mustangs across midfield.
We're getting a lot of variety out of North Oldham's offense. I've noticed they've been in just about a different formation every single snap so far. That time they were in kind of a run and shoot look with tight split ends in a set. Looks like they may come out in it again. No. Yep, they are. Yep, they're under center.
It's a different look from the spread, the shotgun that we saw earlier. Here's the pitch right. Swarm this time by Fisher and Harris and Wiley. Benson will lose a yard. No, he'll get back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10.
I think Great Crossing sniffed that one out that time. Fool us once, but you can't fool us twice.
They probably didn't see a whole lot of that on film, although I don't know what exactly North Oldham did last week. As you said, their offense didn't muster a whole lot, under 100 yards in that one. I think they got behind early and had to throw it. Their young quarterback aired it out 25 times. We haven't seen that yet tonight, but maybe here, 2nd and 10. They will swing it out to the right. It's complete, short of the first down. Good tackle to prevent them getting to the sticks there by Pilot Lacasco.
Quarterback threw a nice ball there.
He did, right on the money to Nick Freeland. Freeland listed as a quarterback himself, but he split out as a receiver there, 6'1", 182-pound senior. They'll mark it at the 41. It will be 3rd and 3. This will probably be the final play of the opening period. We're down to 15 seconds and running. Back to the shotgun snap.
They're not going to get, yep, they managed to get it all.
They will run it. Lacasco meets him first again, but the running back with some forward momentum will push it past the marker or right to the marker at the 38. Now, where they're standing is about the 37.5. I believe that's going to be a new fresh set of downs for the Mustangs as we wrap up the first quarter as time runs out. So North Oldham's got something brewing here. They're down 2-0 courtesy of the safety, but they are at the Great Crossing 37 as the team switch ends.
At the end of the first quarter, your score, North Oldham 0, Great Crossing 2.
This game's a little bit more interesting than I thought it would be as far as that first series is concerned. I kind of felt like Great Crossings would have taken control of it by now. If it wasn't for that great punt and great play by Bird down there, and of course a good defensive play there on 4th or 3rd down, we'd be knotted up here at 0-0, and really probably North Oldham's got the momentum right now.
So far, it looks like the kind of game where those 2 points may come in handy later on. It's a tight one to this point, as North Oldham hanging in with Great Crossing. I want to thank Scott County Veterinary Clinic. We mentioned our neighbors here at Bird's Nest Stadium already. They love and treat your pets like their own. Come join the SC Veterinary Clinic family. Also People's Bank, working together, building success. Go see them at 101 Canewood Center Drive. Time to Shine Car Wash. Your car will shine at Time to Shine. 8 Lexington area locations to serve you. You can see them right here in Georgetown. Steve Skierman, Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, ready to meet all of your insurance needs. Burger King, home of the Whopper. Domino's Pizza. Check out their new 2-story location on the corner of Champion Way and US 25. Sword Performance, the official hydration product of Great Crossing and Scott County Athletics. Pick up a Shield drink at any Clark's Pump and Shop today. Also, Jersey Mike's. They'll be opening soon here in G-Town, and BMT Maintenance. Technicians that are factory trained and certified to serve all your HVAC, cooking, and refrigeration equipment needs. North Oldham in trouble as the sack for Orion Fisher. 10-yard loss to start the second quarter. Fisher had 7.5 of those a year ago. And there's a big one there to make it 2nd and 20.
He didn't even slow him down. The dead sprint to the quarterback.
The express train coming down the track. No market at the 46, so call it 2nd and 18. Fisher with half a dozen D1 offers. He's a 6'6", just shy of 200-pound junior. UK, Louisville, West Virginia, and a bunch of others. There will be more where those came from, as he is the prototype.
Got him again.
He got him again right around the collar. Becerra had nowhere to go. The handoff barely made. He'll lose another yard for the Mustangs. It will be back to the 47, so 3rd and 19. And just when we said North Oldham had something going, they are in a not-so-favorable yardage down in distance.
They're running a zone
predicament
right there, and they're leaving Fisher alone. The quarterback has to read that. They have to have some type of answer when you leave him alone and allow him to attack that back like that. He's just teeing off. He looks like a track star coming off the 100-meter dash right now.
I like to use the word unblockable with him because at times he looks that way at this level. He is set to the left end now, and too much time again, I believe. Or did they get the timeout? They threw a flag, but I think the officials on the far side maybe credited him with the timeout before that happened. Yes.
Having a hard time getting lined up there.
They are a little discombobulated after the 2 big negative plays from number 27, Orion Fisher. 8 yards on the sack, another loss for Becerra, their go-to running back, and it's 3rd and quite a distance just on the Great Crossing side of midfield. Call it 19, maybe 20 where it's being marked now. Great Crossing High School holds safety of its student athletes first and foremost. They're proud to partner with the team of physicians from Bluegrass Orthopedics and athletic trainers Kayla Hansen and Ansley Swan to provide sports medicine coverage for all athletic programs. Kayla and Ansley can be found on the sideline at every practice and game. Thank you, BGO, for the care and service you provide. Great Crossing Athletics.
3rd and a bunch.
3rd and 20 from the Great Crossing 47. North Oldham trailing 2-0 with 10:25 remaining first half. Shotgun snap, quick throw, tipped again by Fisher, and the just mishandled by the receiver. He made a good effort to get it. He would have lost more yardage if he had. I think his best play was to cut his losses and put it on the ground. So Fisher instrumental in all 3 plays in that series, and North Oldham will punt.
Let's say you got a 7-foot wingspan. A little hard to throw a screen pass over top of that.
Yep, you cannot make that throw with 6'6" with that kind of wingspan in your face. He almost gets to the punter. It's caught on a run at the 20, and now lassoed there at the 25. As GC will go to work. Look like Drake Bird on the return.
Return by number 4, Drake Bird, 4 yards on the return. Tackle made by number 36, Lieber.
GC up 2-0 with 10-12 remaining here in the second quarter. Gabe Nichols, the quarterback. Takes the shotgun snap. Hands it off. First man through. Hard to tell if I believe it's Wilson. It is.
We got penetration there, and the penetration kind of just messed the whole play up. Those linebackers are just not being blocked. They're able to come up and basically find daylight and plug it.
Tough sledding for the Great Crossing running game. They had 300 plus yards a week ago. Pretty much did what they wanted to do against Western Hills, but it's a different situation. 2nd and 8.5. Wilson, his momentum carried him past the line of scrimmage, but not much more. Here's a throw from Nichols, or he's got all day to anyway. Now the pocket collapses, and he will be sacked at the 20. Second sack of the night for the Mustang defense, and it will be 3rd and long once again. Warhawks still without a first down, and they'll be hard-pressed to get one here. 3rd and 14. Vance again, first one there, number 69 for the Mustangs. Nice play for the North Oldham defense. They've had a bunch of them tonight.
Yep. Gabe's going to have to get that ball off a little bit quicker because, again, the speed of the defensive line in North Oldham, they're going to put pressure on if you don't get rid of that football.
Gabe had good blocking on that last play as they're going to call timeout now. He had 3 or 4 seconds, just good coverage downfield by the Mustangs. Warhawks will talk it over with 8:39 remaining second quarter. In a tight one, 2-0. Scott County threatening to score again and really put that one out of reach in Lexington. They're up 14-0. Cardinals starting to do Cardinal things after an uncharacteristic opener for them, a 43-14 loss to Franklin County.
Third and long all night is not a good situation to be in.
No, indeed, and they have been in it now 4 times. Perry has been a weapon in the punting game. It's kind of reminiscent of year 1, unfortunately. We saw that a lot.
They moved Perry back to quarterback.
Okay, Perry and the Wildcat. So I don't think this is a long-term thing, but they did use him in that situation a few times last week. He will take it on the left side and gain some positive yardage. That'll give him some room to punt at least as he gets it out past the 30. It'll be 4th and 4. That's the best running play of the night by far to this point for the Warhawks.
I like that play. You might want to come back to that.
I think you might want to do it a little more often. I know they don't want to overuse him. Keeps him fresh on the defensive side, but we really haven't gotten him a lot of touches offensively yet this season. He had a couple of catches last week and a couple of carries. It's kind of like Scott County with Jeremy Hamilton. I think you have to find ways to get your best athlete the ball a little bit. And they will do that with Perry here, I'm sure. He gets the punt away. It's a good bounce again. Will roll to the 33 of North Oldham. So Perry has punted 4 times. Great Crossing has not moved the chains yet. With 7:47 remaining here in the first half. They're nursing a 2-0 lead. Another great place for the defense to pin its ears back here.
See the Fisher show again.
Yeah. Wherever Fisher lines up, North Oldham's got to be nervous, or Perry. They've got to watch both of those guys. Perry right now kind of in a traditional hybrid linebacker safety position. Now he'll come up to outside linebacker. Fisher's on the left side. The quarterback will try to run away from him, get some positive yardage out to the 37. It's Jace Bullock, sophomore QB. He'll pick up 4, 2nd and 6. Conventional running plays have not worked for either team tonight. Fisher caught him from behind after the gain of 4.
Correction, number 23, Caden Allen.
So Caden Allen being credited with that. Fisher was certainly giving chase.
Now we're in a little tight bunch set.
Back under
Double
center
wing.
is Bullock.
Jet.
They'll hand it straight ahead, spins close to the first down. Fisher there for the tackle again, along with Godfrey and Frazier. Benjamin Becerra gets out across the 40 to the 41. Just past the 41. It'll be third and a long, or rather a short 2. Hamilton with his second touchdown of the night. It's 21-zip. He has now scored 4 different ways for the Cardinals this year. Punt return, kick return, receiving, and now rushing. SC in total command. GC trying to do that here. They're up 2-0. There's a pass incomplete overhead. Interesting call on 3rd and short.
Absolutely. Jarve Ray had good coverage over here on the right side. There really was nowhere for him to go with the ball.
Perry and Lacasco were there as well. It was a crowd, and they will at least line up to punt, will North Oldham. They're on their own side of the field, so it would be a tough place to fake it.
I'm a little surprised at the call. Yeah.
I think it's a little strange. I mean, I wouldn't have a ton of confidence running against the Great Crossing front 4, front 7. But it was an interesting throw. If you're going to pass it, I'm not sure I would have done that. Muff snap, and now he'll run for his life. He'll get it off barely. Did a good job getting rid of it. It will take a healthy Mustang roll inside the 30 and be down at the 29. So with 6:07 to play in the half, Great Crossing's offense, which has struggled all night, will go back on the field. Those big linemen, O'Doherty, Stadnick, Smith.
That was a big play by the punter, because that could have very easily been 6 points the other way, and he ended up changing field position there. That was huge. Reminds me of the Kentucky punter that they had.
Rugby punt there.
Rugby punt.
Little Australian rules football action. Mentioning the linemen for Great Crossing, also Chucky Wilson and Zach Kugel in that front 5. They are noticeably bigger and stronger than they have been. Tonight they are up against a tough, stingy North Oldham defense. There's the handoff to Makai Wilson. He finds a little bit of room off the left side this time. Gets himself a gain of 4.
5:55. We've got time to just.
It's time to grind one out here and maybe find the end zone.
That could be huge if they could put a touchdown on the board right now.
Especially because North Oldham will get the kickoff to start the second half. Ball's at the 33 of Great Crossing. They face 2nd down and 6. Thanks for joining us here, the Game of the Week at newsgraphic.com and on the NFHS Network. We'll have coverage of this game and the Scott County game online immediately following the game. But when you wake up in the morning, once again in the Wildcat, North Oldham snuffed it out that time. Perry had nowhere to go, and he had 3 or 4 guys on top of him right away. He'll lose yardage. Back behind the original line of scrimmage, 3rd and 11. And as you said, 3rd and double digits has not been a good situation to be in. I think that's 5 for 5 in that regard.
Yeah, this secondary is playing tough back there for North Oldham, and there's just not a whole lot of room to throw the football. And then the pass rush has been good also.
Nichols hasn't had time to throw, and now Perry has had this series. He'll keep it again. He'll only get to the 30.
Wow.
And that will be 1, 2, 3 kick for the 5th time. And Perry limping off. That is not good. Hopefully he just rolled his ankle a little bit and can tape it up. He's still kind of half galloping. With the trainer in tow, he will head straight for the medical tent.
He's moving pretty good. He must have twisted his ankle.
stoppage in the action here. We'll have a timeout as Great Crossing will kick it away with 3:47 left.
They don't have a punter. Well, I guess they've got a
I was
backup.
going to say.
They've got a backup, but their weapon is not in there.
Yeah, Caleb Perry's punts have been the weapon tonight for sure. The first 4 times, pinning North Oldham.
Are they going for it?
Well, 4th and long. I can't imagine.
Linemen out there.
That's that would be unorthodox.
Yep.
Well, 4th and 9, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from the 30. They are at least going to line it up. You know, it could be a pooch punt situation, I guess, but when you lose your punter and the heart and soul of your team on a Wildcat run, here we go. Nichols to throw. He will get pressured and sacked for the 3rd time by Mr. Vance. And that was an interesting situation. Tyler Vance, the junior, 220-pounder.
He just beat him. I just happened to be watching this left defensive end, and he just beat. I'm not sure who the right tackle is, but he just beat him off the ball and just beat him around the corner and really put a good hit on Gabe back there at the quarterback spot. It's a wonder he held on to the ball.
Turnover on downs in a bad spot. It's at the 26 of Great Crossing. They will move it forward for a couple of yards. Mac Pyle moves the pile to get inside the 25.
Caleb Perry's back in the game. This is a big stand for the defense. Could be a total momentum switch here.
Perry probably just needed the ankle wrap quickly, but a timeout was not enough to get it done. So the defense up against it now. Pyle again, pushing it out close to the 20.
Almost have a little wing T action going on there, Cal. They're running the jet sweep, and I know some wing T teams in the past have done that. They'll fake the jet sweep and then hit the fullback behind the sweep. It's almost kind of the opposite of Scott County's wing T, where you fake the fullback, then hand the sweep, but it's getting the same action and misdirection there.
Great Crossing should be familiar with it on multiple levels then. 3rd and 4 at the 20. The question is, does North Oldham have a kicker? In a game like this, you might be inclined to try one if they don't get the first down.
3-2 at halftime.
Wouldn't that be something? I was talking with Scotty Sutton on the air about this years ago, probably about 15 years ago up in New England. I covered a high school football game that had a final score of 2-0. I've never seen it before. Hope to God that I never see it again. But it was ugly. It was played on a mud field, grass field that had turned to mud, and neither offense could do anything all day long. And the MVP was certainly the punter, whoever it was that pinned them inside the 5 to lead to that safety. Tonight, that person would be Caleb Perry. Orion Fisher has been the star defensively. We will have an MVP award after this game presented by Ozer Paint and Flooring. 3rd and short. They'll run it ahead, and they will get the first down.
I lost the ball there.
He sold the fake very well.
Yeah,
he kind of was going to throw. Looked like he was going to throw it. Becerra up the middle as Bullock did a good job with the handoff to the first man through. Fisher made the stop, but it's a fresh set of downs at the 13 with 2:17 clock rolling here in the first half.
Great crossing brought pressure there, but the North Oldham line did a good job. There was no penetration at all from the linebacker.
Big spot for the Great Crossing defense. They haven't been this close to the goal line all season. Western Hills didn't do anything like this. That was a good dump off pass inside the 10, inside the 5. Knocks the man over, and it's a touchdown for North Oldham. Little swing pass made the first man miss, pancaked the second, and inside the left pylon.
What happened there, Cal, is Perry blitzed off that side, and they were able to throw over his head, and then so you've lost a secondary player there on the blitz, and they had them outnumbered on that side, and then that runner, the receiver made a great run there, just bulled into the end zone.
Blake Wetzel, senior. They do have some seniors on their squad, 6 feet, 173 pounds, but he looked bigger than that making that hit. He delivered a hit. I didn't see if it was Jarvey Ray or somebody trying to make the tackle. It just knocked him over and leaned into the end zone. The kick is up. It is good. 7-2 with 1:50 remaining here. So the injury to Perry, the going forward on fourth down deep in their own territory, taking a sack, it all comes back to bite the Warhawks as the Mustangs take advantage of the short field and punch it in.
Well, we got 1:50. Get a good kickoff return to see if they can put some points on the board here before half. That would be huge. But now this North Oldham defense has been stout.
They have not allowed a first down in the game. So for the first time this season, Great Crossing down on the scoreboard. Perry's back to receive the kickoff, so whatever it was has been rectified with his physical situation. I'm sure it was just a little rolling of the ankle. Easy for me to say that it was little, but 80% of Caleb Perry is just fine compared to most kids. Drake Bird back there as well, I believe. He's had himself a big half. Those two guys instrumental in the safety. It is the only points for Great Crossing to this point. They gave up 2 yards last week. They might only have about 2 this week. Here's a good return from Coulter. It was Coulter back there with Perry. He gets it out to the 34, so a decent field position. And 1:44 to play with. The Warhawks try to get something done here in the 2-minute drill. I'm Cal Oakes along with Coach Paul Raines. Brett Smith here, our producer tonight. We're happy to join you on a beautiful Friday evening after the rain and thunder and lightning cleared out. Still a little humid. Handoff again to Mekhi Wilson. He has just found tough sledding. He'll pick up maybe 3 to the 37. Clock is rolling.
There's just nothing there. Their Great Crossing is not making the holes right now for those running backs to go anywhere.
Sometimes it's tough. You mentioned the schedule being thrown off this week. You couple that with a relatively easy win last week, and sometimes it's tough to get your concentration back. Here's a good run off right tackle. Little room as they get Wilson out wide, and he is in some pain, slow to get up. He got across the 40. Wilson was injured last year in the Scott County game and never returned to the field. So that's worrisome, as he was one of their top ground gainers a week ago. Clock stops with 57.4 seconds remaining in the first half.
Wilson.
Give Great Crossing, if nothing else, some time to talk about what they're going to do with this final almost a minute. They are 59 yards away from the end zone. They are 3 yards away from their first down of the night. It's 3rd and 3 when we get back to play, as Wilson's still down. I don't know if they're
checking out a knee.
Yeah, and that's never good when they're checking the
Yeah,
doing all the mobility tests. I haven't seen Jaquise Patterson tonight, so I don't know if he is out or injured. He's actually on the sideline, I think. I see him with the he got a uniform on, but he's got street clothes underneath it.
Jaquise has got. I talked to him before the game, and he said he had torn meniscus.
Okay, so the top 2 running backs with some knee issues here. So some issues testing the depth of that Great Crossing backfield that was so good last week. Hand off to Cobbins, and he will finally move the chains for Great Crossing at the 45.
Nice run.
Pick up 6 on the play for a first down.
They needed something.
Tackles made by number 69, Vance. Number 33, Davis.
They'll get it off quickly, but not much there. Second effort by Cobbins gets to the 48, and they'll call timeout with 20 seconds left. So
you had a high snap there. It's a wonder they didn't fumble it. They were juggling between Gabe and Cobbins.
Some new faces in there, and that communication just not there.
Timeout towards the Great Crossing.
So what do you do here? You got Caleb Perry, who's a little bit hobbled, but he's obviously a weapon in the passing game. They haven't been able to throw the ball much tonight. They haven't been able to set it up with the run at all.
I'd try to go up top. I don't know. In this situation, the safeties are playing off 15, 16 yards right now, and I know they have their eye on Caleb Perry. But at some point in time in this cover, too, you've got to go down the sidelines. That's where that's where the field is. That's where your grass is. If you look out here right now, outside the numbers here, that's where the grass is. And if you don't go there, you go down the middle with maybe a sluggo route or something like that.
2nd and 8, 2 yards shy of midfield. Here's Nichols. Lots of time to throw. It's over the middle. He's got his man caught by Harris at the 30. They'll have to hurry. It's marked at the 31. Clock will stop temporarily while the chains move. 14 seconds. They can spike it. And they will spike it. Nichols stops the clock with 10.2. It's time for maybe 2 plays if you do it right.
That was a nice ball.
His man got open. Just found a seam down the middle. First catch for Peyton Harris, I believe, of the season. He didn't have one last week. Might have had one. It might be Coulter that didn't have one. They didn't go to the air a ton. They were 4 for 8. Didn't have to in that game. But I think to win this one, especially now shorthanded in the backfield, they may have to pull some things out of the playbook. The ball is at the North Oldham 31. 10 seconds. Crowd getting into it finally. Nichols, lots of time to throw again. He will fire deep. Wiley is there, just underthrown and can't get it. He had a step.
He had him.
Clock stops, 4.1 seconds. They'll probably have time to throw it to the end zone once more.
He got turned around there. The ball was thrown back over behind him a little bit and got him turned around. He's still in a pretty decent position to catch ball. Just a really, it'd have to have been a really good catch to make that one.
3rd down and 10, but that doesn't really matter. What does, the 4.1 seconds on the clock. Nichols will go deep, probably to Perry, I would think. No, he'll go the other way. It's a jump ball. Touchdown, Great Crossing! On the final play of the half. Who is it? Is it Coulter? Yes. And he gets tripped up celebrating.
Hope he's not hurt.
No, that was somebody hurt him. Somebody hurt himself.
That was Cobbins.
Cobbins gets hurt in the celebration. They cannot afford to lose another running back. Good Lord.
You got a penalty.
Celebration penalty. That would sideline warning.
That was huge momentum.
Just a beautiful throw by the junior Gabe Nichols. Somehow had single coverage. I think it's because Perry draws such a crowd. He had his favorite receiver from last season, Jacob Coulter, down there, 18 catches a year ago.
High snap.
The kick by Jack Harold. No good. It will stay 8-7, but what matters most is Great Crossing has the lead going into the half. Wow. How quickly the worm turns. 31-yard strike on the final play of the half.
Well, I said early on, the way their secondary is playing, they are very aggressive. I mean, all the swing passes they've tried to run, the short passing game right there, very first play of the game. Nichols came out and tried to throw a little hitch out there and a safety jump in front of it. You don't have much choice but to throw the ball deep. And then if your running game's not doing great, then you're really limited to go ahead and accept the challenge that their defense is giving you and take it down the sidelines. One of the things I mentioned we were talking about trying to get the ball to Perry was the fact that's where the grass is. It's down the sidelines, and that's what they did.
8-7, your halftime score. The Warhawks on top. Until that drive, they did not have a first down. They punted 5 times, 3 and out. Not a lot of things were going well. They were 2 running backs down to an injury. Perry had gone to the medical tent once. Defense has played well. Orion Fisher has been in the backfield early and often. But the short field gave North Oldham its opportunity. They took advantage. Great Crossing had minute 40 to play with after getting the ball back, and they take advantage of every last second of it to get it into the end zone for the 8-7 lead.
Hey, buddy.
We will have stats momentarily, I'm told, as Coach Chad Little doing the stats up here. They have the printer this week, so very helpful that we have people to provide those for us to get you the information. It's a defensive struggle, certainly, Coach, from what we've seen so far. Most of the good stats will be tackles for loss and sacks, and Tyler Vance, number 69, has been all over the place for North Oldham, and his counterpart for Great Crossing, no question, has been number 27, Orion Fisher.
Yeah, it's been the Vance Fisher show so far, and I've said it several times in the first half. I'm really impressed with North Oldham's defense. When they first lined up there, I thought, well, there's a big side differential here between the Great Crossing's line and the defensive line for North Oldham, but that they made up with tenacity and aggressiveness and athletic ability up front.
They've got some quickness, and they are finding seams, and they are getting in the backfield and really stopping the Warhawks at the point of attack. Most of the runs tonight have been 1 yard, 2 yards. That's been it. Here we go. First downs in the game, North Oldham 4, Great Crossing 3. All three of them just came in the last 10 seconds of that half, I think. Well, maybe a minute of that half. Rushing yardage, here you go. 17 rushes for 12 yards for Great Crossing. That comes a week after averaging 10 yards a pop and 300 total. Combined yardage in this game, 111 yards. And Great Crossing had -6 going into that drive at the end of the half. They went 66 yards in 7 plays to get on the board. So a lot can change in a hurry. Makai Wilson, 7 rushes for 12 yards, but we are worried about his status for the rest of the night, as that did not look good with the knee. Caleb Perry, 3 carries for 5. Tyrus Cobbins, 4 carries for 5. Nichols, the sacks have played a role for him, 3 for -10. Nichols, 3 for 6 through the air for 48. He did all that damage just now. Coulter with the 31-yard touchdown catch. He also found Harris on a big one over the middle to set it up. One of those incompletions was a spike. Sacks, Max Fatal, credited, I think that's wrong. Tyler Vance is the guy that had been making the noise there. Ryan Fisher credited with 1 for a 9-yard loss. Penalties have not really been a factor. 3 for 21 for GC, 1 for 5 for North Oldham. The scoring summary doesn't take long. With 4:33 remaining in the first quarter, Benjamin Becerra took a handoff and just got leveled in the end zone. Fisher was there. Allen was there. The whole defense was there, basically, and it was 2-0. That was set up by Drake Bird catching a Caleb Perry punt on the fly at the North Oldham 2-yard line. North Oldham got itself a little daylight, lost it. I think there was a penalty there as well that took them half the distance back and set up the tackle in the end zone. We stayed that way until the 150 mark of the second quarter when, as we mentioned, Great Crossing was kind of put in a situation of having to go for it on 4th down deep in their own territory. Nichols took a sack. That set up North Oldham to go 26 yards in 4 plays. Jace Bullock found Cooper Benson for the score. The PAT kick by Benson made it 7-2. It took 1:50 for Great Crossing to go the distance. 7 plays, 66 yards, as we mentioned. Culminating in the catch by Jacob Coulter. Nichols just threw a beautiful dime over the top. He had one guy back there covering Coulter. Coulter got behind him, and it was 6. What are your thoughts on what we've seen offensively? It's been a night for defense so far, both ways, right?
Been a little boring on the offense
Yes,
side,
sir.
to say the least. Again, I think with the defensive line and linebacker play we're seeing from North Oldham that Great Crossing will likely try to take their shots a little bit more as they did there. They gave them a little bit of time there on that last series. The line did, and Nichols was able to hit one across the middle and then hit the deep one down the sideline. And maybe if he can back them up a little bit there, they'll be able to get some run, blend in some runs. And up till that last play, North Oldham had all the momentum. They moved the ball down there when they needed to, and it'll be interesting now. It's kind of start all over. It's a new half, and only 1 point separating them, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here in the second half, which team comes out ready to play.
Give you an update on the other game involving a county team. Scott County went to Lafayette tonight and is handling the Generals 21-0. It looks more like typical Scott County football. Montego Jones, 14 carries for 109 yards. He has a touchdown run. Thomas Fikert, 7 for 38. The freshman Drew Hickey is 3 for 5, 68 yards, including a 60-yard touchdown pass to Jeremy Hamilton. Hamilton also rushed for a touchdown. He has scored 4 TDs in 4 different ways: kick return, punt return, rushing, and receiving on the young season. Defense has held Lafayette to 12 yards rushing on 7 attempts. Lafayette's thrown it 25 times in the first half, 9 completions, 2 interceptions. The stat sheet I have here doesn't have who made the picks for SC, but turnovers have been a factor there. As Scott County looking to even its ledger at 1-1. Great Crossing looking to go 2-0. I admit I'm one of the people that thought it might be easier than this. You look at comparative scores and the stats of the other team and who they played, and you think, well, things are setting up pretty nicely for the Warhawks. But it just cliches become cliches because there's a lot of truth to them. And in this business, you got to take 1 week at a time, right?
Well, especially here early in the season too.
You mentioned that earlier. Yeah,
You
it's
know, there's so many things going on, and we mentioned the heat and practice this week, and you really don't have that much quality film. I say film, that's showing my age.
we're both old school up here. Huddle. You don't have much huddle.
You don't have video, let's say.
Yes.
You don't have that much video on your opponent, so it's hard to gauge. What do you got? You got one game and possibly
maybe a
scrimmage
if they got it in.
and so it's not always easy to gauge just how good and how effective your opponent is until you show up there and play them at this point in time in the season.
And they show up 40 minutes before game time, and they just came out guns blazing on the defensive side. As we mentioned, Great Crossing just 3 and out on 5 consecutive possessions. They did manage to get themselves a 2-0 lead, and that's why they say all phases of the game are important, and that's why they call them special teams, right?
Yeah, it may come down to that. That may be the difference in the ball game.
We've had a safety and we've had a missed extra point, so both those things could be factors right now. And again, squib kickoffs are always an adventure on this turf, it seems like. So Great Crossing will kick off to start the second half. Next week, Great Crossing will be going to Henry Clay, which I believe was winning tonight. I didn't see what the final score was. Nope, they fell 21-10 to Fern Creek. So that's another one where, on paper, Great Crossing, it's kind of a crossroads game. 2 programs that have been headed in different directions over the past 2 or 3 years. But that's why they play them, and it'll be a tough road assignment. It's always tough to go to Lexington on a Friday. It's tough enough just to get there on the bus. Then they have to go play a game. You never know. So Labor Day weekend, that'll be the only game as Scott County has a bye. So we will be off on the Bird's Nest Broadcasting Network. We will return on the 10th. That'll be another Great Crossing game, as I believe Scott County stays on the road for the better part of this early season. If you're wondering about the Battle of the Birds, you got used to it being at the start of the season. Well, mercifully, it is October 1st on the regular district schedule this year. So gives both teams a chance to get settled in. And I think as a coach, you would prefer that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. It's a whole lot better to be in that situation than the other.
Some Georgetown, actually players from all of the middle schools that feed, both the middle schools, I should say, that feed into Great Crossing potentially, Georgetown Middle and Scott County Middle, which is kind of split down the middle, being introduced here. It's always nice when kids get a taste of the Friday night lights and keeps them hungry for, and you know, as we've seen, the numbers in this county, both schools well over 100 if you count freshmen, and football just continues to grow in a time where we're told that nationally it struggles in some places.
It's not struggling in Scott County.
It is not.
It is. They do a great job with the youth programs here and getting the kids out and making it fun for them, and then the recognition that both high schools have of their youth, and they understand the importance of building these feeder programs up, and so it's good to see these young people here, and it puts more people in the stands. Mom and Dad's coming tonight to see.
That's right.
See Johnny run out on the field at halftime, and so
put the video on their social media, and
what do we have, a standoff here?
Yeah, we're gonna have a stare down. All right, this is like University of Miami and Florida International or something. This is good stuff, and these kids will be the ones. Some of them will be teammates. Some of them will be rivals in 3 or 4 years, probably even 1 or 2 years. It's good to see.
I'm not sure what's happening here.
Now we've got the coaches hugging. Stare down. This is a unique arrangement here.
Be interested to see what adjustments are made this half.
There's going to have to be some offensively, I'd say.
Have to be for both teams. They've got to be looking at offensively what they can do. I mean, I'm sure that both of them are feel fairly good about their defenses, but offensively there needs to be some adjustments made on both sides of the ball to move those chains and at least win the field position battle.
Defenses dominated, to say the least. Great Crossing had minus yardage until that scoring drive. And again, some personnel issues as they will be down potentially their top two running backs. So some adjustments. We may see a little more of Perry in the Wildcat, although he got banged up too as a result of one of those plays. And they lost him for a key sequence. So that's why the coaches get paid the big bucks. They got to adjust in mid-game, and we'll see what Coach Bowling and his staff, his coordinators, Coach Peniston, Coach Vanderpool, and all the others, Coach Floyd, Coach Smith, as you said. He's got a good and big bunch of guys who have invested a lot here, as you know, from your year with the program. You get to go to a lot of high school football when you're not here at Great Crossing. Now that you're retired as a coach, or what are you doing these days, football related?
Friday nights, I try to get out and get around a little bit, most of the time I'm up here at Great Crossings, and I'm still real close with the staff and several of the older boys now. But now I'll venture off down to Lexington every now and then. I've got a lot of coaching friends out there. Wes Johnson at Dunbar, I'm going to try to go down and see them. And Mike Holcomb is at Madison Central. I'd like to try to catch one of his games this year. And so I'll keep my Friday nights open and see what teams I can and coaches I can kind of catch up with.
You've probably got connections to just about every program in this state, don't you, from over the years?
Every program and about all these officials out here. I have been to a few scrimmages. I see all my officials. And
you've hollered at them all a time or two.
I've hollered at them enough.
Question their visual acuity.
I told one the other day, I said, yeah, I think I'll get out there and get in the fit. He said, you need to get out here with us. I said, no way do I going to let them guys holler at me like I hollered at you. And they just laugh. I never was too bad on the officials. I think in 28 years I had one personal foul thrown on.
Well, see, that's what you do as a head coach. You can delegate all that. You can have some of the assistants do the yelling and the screaming. We have an 8-7 game. The good guys from Great Crossing on top by virtue of not really a Hail Mary, but a last-second pass. It was a well-designed one-on-one throw to the back left corner of the end zone, and Jacob Coulter was there to put it away.
They went into a trips formation to the right, and, of course, much like yourself and both of us, we were looking at Caleb Perry.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking Caleb Perry's going to get this ball. Well, they left Coulter over all by himself, and I think the safeties did the same thing. They were focused on the trips and left him one-on-one with that cornerback, and Nichols just threw a dime on it.
Gabe really never even looked that way. He just he was going to Coulter the whole time, and Coulter ran underneath it beautifully.
Great Crossings needs to go 3 and out here, and then put some more points on the board. I know that's what Coach Bowling would like to have happen.
Stretch this out a little bit and give your defense a chance to really dig in. Their defense will get the first chance to go to work. They had plenty of 3 and outs in their own right in the first half. That one series that was so impressive. North Oldham had a first down inside of Great Crossing territory, and in one 3-play sequence, Orion Fisher had a sack, a tackle for loss, and a pass knockdown to force a punt. That was the darndest thing I've seen from him out of many that he's done over the past couple of years. But he took over that series and then
just should have blocked the punt.
really did. He got within a fingertip of the punter on fourth down. You're right. So it was quite a sequence for number 27, whose reputation, as we said, is spreading throughout the Mid-South.
He is just so rangy with those arms. I'm not sure at this level, especially how you pass block somebody that can put their hands out and basically lock you out, and your hands are not even coming close to touching his body.
I like the comparison that Scotty Sutton made last week. He says, he's built like Josh Allen was built in high school. and then when you get to college and put on 100 pounds, you become you can do major things at the next level and perhaps the level beyond that. But certainly in high school, 6'6", with that kind of speed and anticipation, you're going to get some things done no matter what.
And the defense has played well for Great Crossings on their behalf. They've
swarmed to the ball. They haven't. North Oldham has not gained a lot of conventional rushing yards. They got 14 out of kind of a gimmicky play to Liam Hudson, one of their top receivers. Becerra has carried it 6 times for 13. Mac Pyle 3 for 10. Jace Bullock, the quarterback, has completed only 2 passes, but one of them went for a touchdown to Benson for 13 yards. PAT was good. That put North Oldham on top ever so briefly. They will receive the second half kickoff, trailing 8-7. Again, we will present the Ozer Paint and Flooring Player of the Game Award after this one. They're one of our fine sponsors here on the Bird's Nest Broadcasting Network. Want to thank News Graphic. Want to thank Brett Smith here, our producer. Flying solo with me tonight is we'll welcome back James in a couple of weeks. I want to thank Mike Scoggin for all his support. DT Wells, who has helped put this all together from the Scott County Schools perspective these past 2 or 3 years. We look forward to hopefully a full football season and a busy basketball season in these challenging times. Jack Harold will kick it toward the sideline. Oh, good stick over there right on the sideline. Who was it? Was it Bird? He's had quite the night on special teams. He's a player of the game contender, and he won't even have to touch the ball on offense to do it. He's been responsible for 2 points, basically, with that play downing the punt, now covering the kickoff.
I'm not sure what he weighs, Cows, but he hit him with every bit of it.
We will see what the program says. It says 160, 5'11".
Well, he hit him with 165 of it.
Yeah, he went 110%. It was all out. I think the North Oldham guy thought he was going to just fall out of bounds, and he thought wrong. Ball with the 36, first and 10.
And fake to the
sweep to the left, well covered by guess whom. I thought it was Fisher. It actually wasn't. It was Ray and Wiley were there to meet him. He gained 2 to the 38, second and 8. Jarvey Ray has sprouted up a little bit. He's a tall drink of water back there this year. Only listed at 5'11", but he looks rangier than that.
Jarvey's a good player.
He is. He came on at the end of last season, I thought. Coach Bowling was high on the potential in the defensive backfield. Oh, another stick right away. Couldn't even make the handoff. Will Frazier with a hit in the flex. And the tackle for loss back to the 35. 3rd and 11.
Again, I think that quarterback is supposed to be reading that, and it's just not. That's twice tonight that the defensive ends have just teed off on the running back. Fisher before in the first half, and now Frazier, and he's not pulling the ball.
We talked about that weight room and how it's transformed this team. I would put Will Frazier near the top of guys who look totally different as a result of that this season.
Yeah.
He's another one that's listed at only 174, but he's all of it. Third and 12 all night long, both ways, both shades of green. Now we've got a flag, too much time. It's going to be 3rd and even longer. North Oldham putting itself in a tougher predicament. It'll be marked back to the 29.
That's going to make it a 3rd and 17 from the Mustang 29-yard line.
Third and a good chunk for the Mustangs, who trail 8-7 to your Warhawks. In the shotgun is Jace Bullock. He looks quickly and just throws it into the turf. He had to because Frazier was coming, Fisher was coming.
They got a break there. There was nobody on number 2 receiver. Now, I'm not sure if there was a breakdown. I think Perry and some of the other secondary people are talking about it right now. He was completely uncovered, but the pressure got to him, and the quarterback wasn't able to throw a good ball.
He had to dump it off to his safety valve, Nick Freeland, and Freeland was just nowhere near it. 4th down. North Oldham will punt. 10:06 to play. Clock stop for the incomplete pass, 3rd quarter. The kick is away. It will take a good North Oldham bounce. Picked up by Bird at the 25. He's got some room on the left side. Now looks to cut back and gets swarmed just shy of the 35. That's where Great Crossing will go to work, 1st and 10 from its own 34. That's exactly where they started the last series that ended up in the end zone. So maybe that's a good sign.
Run or pass, Cal? What do you think here in the second?
Yeah, why not? Why don't we start it out with a little bit of aerial attack here? You might have to. You might. Your options in the running game have been diminished. You still got Tyrus Cobbins. And of course, you've got Caleb Perry to do any number of things. But beyond that, you're digging down the depth chart a little bit.
I think that your running back's back.
Wilson's back. Well, that's good news because that looked awful with all the tests they were running on the knee.
Here's Perry on the
inside handoff, little shovel pass to Perry. He'll barely get back across the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard.
Good defense.
Pick up 1 on the play.
Good news for Great Crossing after the 3 and out to see Mekhi Wilson back out there. Second and 9. Ball at the 35. Shotgun Nichols. Hands off to Cobbins. Cobbins gains a couple. 3rd and 7. See a little frustration from the line out there. Brandon Smith kind of shrugging.
They're just quick. Their defensive line, I've sitting and watching play after play. They're just having a hard time sustaining their blocks. North Oldham's got some quickness out there.
It's a clash of styles, to be sure. You got the brawn against the quickness up front of North Oldham and the linebackers in particular. That front 7. Nichols to throw. He had Perry, but it got tipped by a North Oldham defender and falls incomplete. Good play by number 36, Noah Lieber. And the Warhawks, guess what? We're going to punt for the 6th time in 7 series tonight. Clock stopped with 8:34 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Great Crossing leads 8-7.
Technique receive number 3, Benson, and number 10, Wetzel.
Scott County has scored twice in the 3rd quarter. Jones again, and then Hamilton, 34-0. North Oldham downs the punt at the 20. Guess who? Drake Bird was right there, but they were in the process of just kind of kneeling on it. Defense will go back to work for the Great Crossing Warhawks. That's been a good story tonight for them. The only touchdown they've given up tonight and all season was a short field. North Oldham started at the 26 after a turnover on downs that they were pressured into going for it without a punter at the time. Another First man through is Becerra, kind of hands off and then fakes the throw. Didn't fool great crossing. See, the New England Patriots run that play a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know why I know that. Being one of them Northerners. It's a loss of a yard, maybe 2. Second and 11, call it 12. Not quite at the 20. 7:44 and running here in the third quarter, and it looked like he was going to call a timeout. Now changing the play. The play clock has gone to 0, and that will be another delay of game penalty for North Oldham unless they got the timeout. Yep.
Quarterback does not have time to be checking off as slow as they're moving up to the line and calling plays.
They've just had some difficulty. I don't know if it's because of what Great Crossing has done adjusting defensively, and they're throwing some different looks at them, and it's confusing them, or what? Just shy of the 15 now, and North Oldham's going to be backed up to their own end zone to punt pretty soon, unless they can get some forward momentum here. Second down and 16, rather.
Man, Will Frazier come off the
running for his life is the QB, throws it deep. Nobody in particular down there except Wiley and Bird, and now the flag comes in. Well behind where the ball landed, but it was where the pattern was being run. You're going to call a sideline warning on the Mustangs. So that was not a mark off of yardage, so it's an incomplete pass. That play stands, 3rd and 16.
That's point of emphasis this year.
Seemed like it was one last year, too.
They sent an email out supposedly to all the schools saying it will be called, but I don't know, maybe the coach is doing their job. All we see is the warning parts of it.
Here's a quick throw to the right side. They'll get a little bit of yardage, but not much. You see college teams, the coach has somebody in charge of that, in charge of at least keeping him off the field.
Venables for Clemson.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Dabo's designated keep me out of trouble guy. That gets a little room to breathe for North Oldham out to the 23. It'll be 4th and 8, and that's where they will snap it for the punt. The busy man tonight has been Drake Bird. He is back around midfield to receive for the Warhawks with 6:43 and counting in the third quarter. Bad low snap taken by the punter. Good job picking it up. Did they? Yeah. When they ref throws the flag right at the guy from North Oldham.
Yeah.
It's going to be a decent return, but now it's going to depend on whether it's a 5 or a 15.
I would think it's a 15. Will Frazier snacked him pretty good there.
I didn't see that. Did he make the personal foul signal or not? I saw kind of the running.
He was late even throwing it out there.
Yeah, he was. It was a long delay. And then the Mustang that turned around to look for the flag had to jump, do the hurdle to get out of the way of the flag coming at him. Now they're talking about it. At the very least, they would have to punt it again. No, he didn't signal personal foul, so it's a 5-yarder. It remains 4th down, 4th and 3. You don't see that much in high school. Usually they call it 15 almost across the board. It's not going to change North Oldham's mind about punting it away. They're still so deep in their own territory, trailing only by 1. So they will punt it away from the 28.
I'm really perplexed at how they got running into the punter off.
Frazier whacked him good, as you said.
He really nailed him.
I don't know if they said he got pushed into him. I only kind of saw the end myself. But
he dribbled the ball, and
Yeah.
it kind of that's what missed.
That was part of the
missed
issue.
Frazier up.
Better snap this time, better kick, end over end. Bird juggles it, now goes back to the 31 to pick it up, and he will get smacked by a couple of Mustangs at the 37. That's where Great Crossing will take over with 5:50 remaining third quarter. I want to thank DMK CPA. All your tax and auditing needs. Denise M. Keene, certified public accountant. Brickhouse Properties Real Estate, buying and selling made easy. Chick-fil-A, home of the original chicken sandwich. Bluegrass Orthopedics, serving athletes of all ages. Georgetown News Graphic, Scott County's 24/7 news source. And if you don't believe it, check the website about 1 a.m. We'll have both stories up there, maybe even earlier than that. Also, TMMK, Toyota, such a big supporter of youth sports here in the community. Great Crossing taking over from its own 37. Nichols in the shotgun will throw it quickly. Good throw out to Harris.
First down.
Man in the slot. If it's not a first down, it'll be close. Right at the stick. They will move. Peyton Harris made a big catch on the touchdown drive to set it up. Now he makes a big one here to move the chains close to midfield. It'll be out the Warhawk 47. Lieber made the stop for the Mustangs. Fresh set of downs for GC. Wilson in the backfield. Nichols again out of the gun. Trouble handling the snap. It's on the ground. I think North Oldham thinks they have it. It was Caden Allen in the backfield for the first time tonight. And it is a North Oldham recovery. All these backs kind of had that same build back there. It was Caden Allen, and Nichols tough getting his hands on the snap, and then tried to make the handoff a little too late. Ball ended up on the ground. Fumbled exchange gives them a short field again at the Great Crossing 43. Jace Bullock, the quarterback, he falls on a bad snap at the 48. So that's as good as a sack, 5-yard loss. The offenses just continue to struggle, Coach.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of the same old stuff, aren't we?
Well, those snaps have been hard to handle tonight for some reason, both ways.
It's like both teams hurt themselves on that initial series every time they get possession of the ball. Whether it's a delay of game by North Oldham, they've had several of those. Things must be getting a little frisky out there. The officials have brought
calling everybody together. I saw a soccer game last night that was like this, where the officials had enough and say, look, we're going to crack down on the language. We're going to crack down on the extracurriculars, and that's it. So there we go. Yeah, I just say what both these teams do is predicated, and same with Scott County across town, on good down and distance situations, favorable, and neither team has had them tonight. They've been putting themselves in second and long, third and long.
So they give both teams a warning. And what's going to happen now? The next person will end up.
Next person out of line is probably going to get thrown out of the game,
Yeah.
which is you don't want, because they'd have to miss next week too.
But they've not thrown any 15-yarders tonight, so I don't think.
So far, so good. No, I don't remember a personal foul. So this is the last warning. This is like when Dad says, don't make me pull this car over. And now play clock still has not started. Now they're going to go over to the other sideline, talk to Coach
This is a little bizarre.
Jamie Brown. I want to say James Brown. Hooah! Good God. And now both teams will huddle up, take advantage of the situation to talk it over. At least Great Crossing will. Coach Bowling's going to say, look, we can't afford to have any more of it.
I'm just surprised that they're at this length and they've not thrown a 15-yarder prior to this.
Usually that's what they do to get control of the game, rather than
throw a 15-yarder on somebody.
Rather than this kind of stern warning. And
even if it's offsetting 15-yarders. they'll send a message. They'll call it on this number and this number, all setting, and those two both have personal fouls against them. If they get another one, they're out of the game.
The officials have spoken. The ball is in place, and we are back in action. 4:47 remaining third quarter. 2nd and 15 after the bad snap. One of many tonight. This one's on the money. Quick throw. Wide open is Becerra. Allen couldn't wrap him up. But Wiley does, along with Little, after a gain of 3.
A lot of work for 3 yards.
It sure was. It was slow to develop. 3rd and 12. North Oldham has been on Great Crossing side of the field maybe 3 times now. They scored once, but other than that, they have not had a ton to say offensively, other than that one mini drive. Pressure from Frazier from the back and from the front. Getting the sack is Mr. Fisher. Orion with his 2nd sack of the evening. And another North Oldham punt to come.
Those 2 tackles can't block those two when they
No.
once they get in that situation where it's 3rd and long and they're in the spread set, they can't block those 2. 4th and 25. We've seen that a few.
Yeah, 4th and a whole bunch. Kick is away. Bird catches it on the fly. Good running start across the 40 to the 43.
Bird's got some courage.
he is not afraid of contact.
He hits that thing in a dead run, about a 15-yard dead run into the lion's den, so to speak, and has no fear.
He is just built that way. Multi-sport athlete, also gets it done on the baseball diamond. They marked it 42.
Come out throwing here.
I think that's going to be the strategy tonight. Deep from Nichols.
There's
Little tangling of the feet, and there comes the flag. In single coverage down there was Zachary Kelly. It was a little bit overthrown, but part of the reason it was because of the tangling of the feet and maybe the yank of the jersey.
As I mentioned in the first half, that's where the grass is. You got the cover 2, and the sidelines are your friend in those situations. You end up with one-on-one coverage with the corners, and that's tough on those cornerbacks when they've got to try to cover all the way down the field like that, and they're up tight.
I like the confidence that the Warhawks have shown lately in their young quarterback, and he has rewarded it by throwing a good ball on several occasions here to get the offense finally in gear. This one is a 15-yard penalty to the North Oldham 43 with 2:51 remaining in the third quarter of a defensive battle royal. Another throw from Nichols, complete, 1st down. Oh, fumble, ball on the ground again, unless they mark him down.
I think we got that one, though. We may have an injury.
Yeah, I don't know if he's...
That's Harris.
It is Peyton Harris, and you hope he's not injured seriously. That's his 3rd catch in a very short window here. Might be a cramp. It is a cramp. Thank goodness. That's the telltale sign when he says, stretch me.
That's the same little hot pass that they ran earlier there. They caught the Harris.
Almost identical yardage right at the stick.
They're getting the linebackers shaded over to the wide side of the field and kind of open up a little alley there. They're able to hit that hot pass on.
And what I like from any receiver is that awareness of where the marker is, knowing where you got to get to. And Harris has shown that twice. He's being tended to by the BGO trainers right now. I want to thank some more of our sponsors while we have a break in the action. Clark's Pump and Shop, return, refresh, refuel. Clark's Pump and Shop with 3 locations in Georgetown. Just opened a new one recently. Georgetown Community Hospital, where your health and safety remain their number 1 priority. West Banco, by all accounts, better. Greens Toyota of Lexington, great people, great cars. Think Greens. Ozer Paint and Flooring, tonight's player of the game, sponsor your hometown paint and flooring connection. Scott County Veterinary Clinic. They love and treat your pets like their own. Come join the SC Veterinary Clinic family. People's Bank, working together, building success. Go see them at 101 Canewood Center Drive. Time to Shine Car Wash. Your car will shine at Time to Shine Car Wash, 8 Lexington area locations to serve you. Steve Skierman, Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance, ready to meet all of your insurance needs. Right on Main Street in Georgetown. Burger King, home of the Whopper. Couple of locations to serve you here in the county. Domino's Pizza, come check out the new Georgetown location on the corner of Champion Way and US 25. Sword Performance, the official hydration product of Great Crossing and Scott County Athletics. Pick up a Shield drink at any Clark's Pump and Shop today. Jersey Mike's, go see them at their new location. It is adjacent to Planet Fitness over there just off of Cherry Blossom. They'll be opening in the fall. They offer a sub above BMT maintenance technicians that are factory trained and certified to serve an extensive variety of commercial HVAC, cooking, and refrigeration equipment. Give them a call today. Running off the field, feeling a little better about life, is Peyton Harris.
He's going straight to the 10th. Though.
Yeah, he's going to get a little more treatment, open up some mustard packets. He'll be good as new shortly.
Here we go.
I guess they called it an incomplete pass is what they did instead of calling it a fumble. That's interesting. So they spotted it back at the 43, 2nd and 10. Wipe out everything that we said. Nichols throwing deep to Kelly again. Same play. He catches it over the shoulder at the 5. 1st and goal, GC.
Great ball by Nichols and great catch by Kelly. Put it over his outside shoulder. There's nothing that corner can do with it. And again, I've said it several times, that really puts that corner in a tough one-on-one situation when you're throwing the verticals.
Zachary Kelly. They tried him earlier. He drew the laundry on the field that time. This time a gain of, where are they marking it? The 5, 38 yards. It'll be 1st and goal. And that might help set up the inside handoff to Caden Allen. We'll see. He carried about 6 guys into the end zone last week. He'll try it again. Here he goes. Touchdown, standing up for number 23. And that's a big one for the Warhawks as they take a 14-7 lead pending the PAT.
That's huge.
2:12 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Great crossing offense. Sometimes you got to pass to set up the run, right? It's counterintuitive to what we've always heard, but in this case, it's what worked.
Well, and you get a little excitement. You know, you hit the long pass on them. Great crossings. The offensive line gets a little jacked up, and defense hangs their head a little bit. And all of a sudden, that running game opens right up for you.
A lot of movement before the PAT. Jack Harold splits the uprights, and that's big because it's an 8-point margin now, 15-7. With 2:12 to play here in the 3rd quarter, so that's 13 unanswered points from the Warhawks.
Now you need that defense to make a stout stand here, 3 and out, get control of the whole game right here on this series.
I think it's going to be tough for North Oldham here. They had, when they could kind of control the tempo of things against this defense, that was about their best chance. And once they get a chance to pin their ears back, the Warhawks are going to be pretty tough, I think, to get any footing against.
Warhawks pass rushes, just they've had a hard time throwing anything other than the swing passes, which is the one they scored on.
Harold will kick it away. Definite change in the energy of the stadium recently is the end of the first half and the start of the second. They've got this big Great Crossing crowd into it. We said a lot of kids here tonight. Getting a good show. They're seeing how defense is played at the high school level, that's for sure. Short kick again, caught at the 25 by Becerra. He'll get across the 30 before getting tripped up. Look like making the tackle there, Ryland Dykes. 1st and 10 at the 32 for North Oldham. They've got 2:09 to play with here in the third quarter. They trail by a touchdown and a 2-point conversion right now as a great crossing has made it happen through the air. That last touchdown, rushing touchdown by Caden Allen, set up by the Zachary Kelly catch over the shoulder from Gabe Nichols, 38 yards. And the last play of the first half was a 31-yard strike to Jacob Coulter to put Great Crossing's
We're looking
offense
at
on
the
the
jet
board.
sweep here or the fullback up the middle.
The sweep
There's a
to the
sweep.
left. It gains more than it had before now, about 8 out to the 40 before he's pushed out of bounds by Jarvey Ray. The back is Cooper Benson once again. He's been the designated guy to run that jet sweep to the left.
You pretty much, when they get in that double wing look there with the tight splits,
You know what's coming.
you pretty much know it's either the fullback or the wingback so far. Now maybe that quarterback will run a little play action or something, but it's been one or the other.
Under center again, so
And there's the fullback.
it's Becerra churning forward, good yardage. He hasn't, we haven't been able to say that much about him tonight, but he picks up 5 here to the 47. Sets up scores a first down, chalks up a first down for the Mustangs, who didn't have many in the first half. I think that's only their 5th of the night. I don't believe they had one before now in the second half. They're at the 47, their own 47. Time ticking down to a minute and a half to play here in the third quarter. Another sweep for Benson. This time, good pursuit by Great Crossing. Ran into a triple whammy there. Frazier.
You just can't keep running the same formation and only run 2 plays out of it. They're going to figure it out sooner or later.
Caden Allen, the man of the hour moments ago on the offensive side, also in on that tackle. And we have what might be a cramp for North Oldham. So we have a timeout with 1:03 remaining in the third quarter. What I like about this Warhawks defense, last year it seemed like every time somebody made a tackle, we were saying Caleb Perry's name. We don't have to do that as much this year because there's 11 hats on the ball.
But we have said Fisher's name quite a few times.
We have.
Tonight. He's played a heck of a football game.
That kind of frees up Perry to stay back there and pretty much nullify the passing game in every aspect. The only pass they completed of any significance was the touchdown, but it was a little dump off.
Yeah, they just happened to catch Great Crossings in a blitz and called the perfect play at the perfect time. They were struggling a little bit at that point in time when they were able to get that off and score a touchdown, which was great execution by the quarterback and the running back on the little swing pass.
Left the DB on an island just in front of the pylon, and he got knocked over, and that was the only touchdown of the night so far for the Mustangs, who trailed by 8, 15-7. They were at their own 44-yard line, 2nd and long, something that we've said repeatedly. Pass to the sideline, caught right at midfield. So they get the yardage back, plus a couple to grow on. It's Blake Wetzel. Right at the midfield stripe. Third and 7. Final minute of the third quarter. And a timeout. North Oldham That's their first charge timeout for either team this half. We've had a couple of delays for injuries and for the officials to restore order. Checking the out-of-town game once more. Running clock as Scott County goes up 41-0 with 8:47 remaining on a 23-yard touchdown run by Thomas Fikert. I guess the only remaining drama is, does the defense get the shutout for the Cardinals? Third and 7. Big play for North Oldham. Here comes Fisher. Pressure. Way overthrown and then thrown behind the secondary receiver. He had two guys over there, but it was not close to a completion, and it will be fourth down. So North Oldham has a chance to pin Great Crossing, and they will try to do that here with 53.5 seconds. The punt team runs onto the field. Great Crossing's offense has got some momentum. They're running downhill now, so North Oldham's best hope is to pin them and hope they can get the ball on the ground again or something. It's a wobbly kick once again. It will take a Mustang bounce once again and will roll dead just on the other side of the 20. So Great Crossing, long way to go. 40.8 seconds remaining third quarter, but they now nurse a 15-7 lead as they look to go 2-0 on the young season. It's been a battle. North Oldham has come to play. But I think they might be getting out-athleted now just a little bit. We've seen Great Crossing spread it around. Some guys that really weren't a factor in the first half. Zachary Kelly with a big catch. Caden Allen with a touchdown run. Of course, Allen's always a factor defensively. Nichols in the shotgun where he's been efficient tonight. Hands it off to Allen. Gets to the 20.
They're playing those safeties up so tight. The two safeties probably weren't 7 yards off the ball just then. They're daring Great Crossings to throw deep.
They've not been shy about doing so.
No, they haven't.
Play clock just starting now, so it will probably tick away the final seconds of the third quarter as both sides just kind of standing around. We've got 12 minutes to play here at Bird's Nest Stadium. Great Crossing with the ball and the lead, 15-7. I'm Cal Oaks with Coach Paul Raines. It's been a good one we've been entertained by tonight. You're going to love it if you're a defensive guru. Ryan Fisher, 2 sacks. He's well on his way to being a leading candidate for this trophy that's sitting in front of me, the Ozer Paint and Flooring Player of the Game. The dance team on the field. It's just good to have halftime and between quarters entertainment again. As you said earlier, it's great to have the kids in attendance and just an actual football atmosphere. Finally. They've put the band behind the end zone this year, which is good for distancing for everybody, I would assume.
A lot of students involved tonight.
That's what you like to see, and that's where you want to be as a young school, building culture, and that's what I've been impressed with. That's probably the main thing I've been impressed with the first two and now third year of Great Crossing is how they have involved the students and how the students have kind of taken the initiative.
Yeah, when you look at the cheerleading squad, I don't know, what do you got, 20 down there
Yeah.
as cheerleaders, and you've got 25 there probably on the dance team, and the band's got 50 or 60, and then you've got the kettle cheering section down there, and the football team. You've got a good portion of the high school out here tonight.
You can't force school pride. It's something that's got to develop naturally, but it's something that has quickly developed in this Great Crossing community. They're developing their identity on the football field as well. They're 12 minutes away from being 2-0. Nichols takes the snap.
There's Perry on the option.
It is Perry this time. Thank you. As they run the Wildcat, they went away from that in the entire third quarter, but now with the lead and the clock in their favor, might be the best thing for their running game to give it to their number one guy.
He got tripped up there a little bit. He may have had a little something there on that. There was a nice hole inside.
If you're joining us late, he got hobbled a little bit in the second quarter on a similar play like that. And the worst part is it was third down, and he's the punter. So they got caught in a little bit of a negative situation there that led to North Oldham's touchdown. But he's back on the field now. Harris goes in motion. Perry handed it off to Allen.
I think Perry was wanting to keep it.
I think he was. It was a very last-second decision.
I think he was wanting to keep it, and the fullback wouldn't let go of the ball.
He said, gimme, gimme, gimme. Third and a long 3 just inside
Fourth.
it's fourth down. That's right, because we had a play before the end of the quarter. Good catch. We're going to punt. Caleb Perry. It's been a while, but he hasn't punted now 7 times tonight.
I was really hoping we could pick up a few first downs there and get that ball.
I think they went with their best opportunity to do so. He mishandles the snap. Now Perry's got to run for his life, but he's got a seam. He's just got to make one man miss. He does. First down, 35-40, still going up to midfield before he's knocked out of bounds. Wetzel finally makes the stop, rather. But right at the 50, Perry goes 25 yards. North Oldham has a player down in all the confusion. And that's a huge play in the football game, Coach.
It's always nice to have the best athlete on the field at the punter position.
You got it. As you know.
Good things happen when things break down and the best athlete on the field's got the ball.
He picked up the muff and ran 25 yards himself for a key first down.
Yes, that's huge. You got the ball down the 50-yard line, so we've changed the field position here in the fourth quarter, and that's going to be a big advantage to Great Crossing with a 15-7 lead. And both offenses struggling a little bit, especially North Oldham. They've struggled here in the second half, more so than Great Crossing had. Great Crossing's been able to move the ball and pass the ball around a little bit.
It's like another cramp as the player runs off for North Oldham. Michael Davis.
Nichols is back in at quarterback.
So they got what they needed out of Perry, which was they tried to get some daylight in their own end of the field, and then he gives them some daylight on a busted play on the punt. The muff snap that he picked up, and again, that over pursuit, sometimes it burns you. You're doing the right thing if you're North Oldham there, trying to go after the guy with the ball and pin him. Nichols in the shotgun, a lot of time again, throws it high for Harris on the sideline, incomplete. Harris would have had to drag a foot down even if he had been able to catch the ball, as he was right on the paint. 2nd and 10 from the 50, 10:15 to play, clock stop for the incomplete pass. Great Crossing trying to give themselves some insurance here. They are up by 8.
Got another pass play.
Nichols in the gun, 2nd and 10. Tripped as he gave the handoff to Cobbins, and Cobbins will trip and lose 3. So 3rd and long again for the Warhawks. Same old story, same old song and dance.
That snap's just a little bit high, but it's like Nichols it's right around the helmet area, and it's throwing Nichols off just a little bit.
It's one of those things, again, early in the season, new starting quarterback. Coach Bowling said, too, a key for him is just getting used to feeling that pressure and, not shying away from contact when you're coming off an injury. He will look to throw here once again, but he won't be able to avoid the sack. Back at the 40 is Wyatt Drury for the Mustangs. Once again, Perry will be in punt formation. Clock ticking with 9:20 to play.
I think he had a receiver open down the middle of the field. He just didn't have time to. He did not have time to throw the football.
Pocket collapsed in a hurry. 41-0 the final. Scott County over Lafayette. Hamilton 3 touchdowns. Montego Jones over 100 yards and 2 scores. 3 interceptions and an onside kick recovery for the Cardinals. Kind of a wobbly kick that takes a okay roll for Great Crossing and falls dead at the North Oldham 27. Clock still running. I'm sure the Mustangs will catch on to that and yell at somebody. Now they whistle it.
There they go.
It's at 8:35.
Double wing. What do you think, Cal? Sweep or fullback dive?
I'm going to go with the sweep for Mr. Benson.
There's the boot.
He keeps it.
Yep.
And he gets to the 30 before he smartly and alertly dives to the turf to avoid the contact. Jace Bullock, the quarterback.
They switched it up on us there.
Pick up a 2 on the play. Going to make it a 2nd down and 8.
Second and 8 from the 30. Under 8 minutes to go in this one. North Oldham. Time's a wasting for the Mustangs. They trail by a touchdown and a 2-pointer, 15-7. There's another bad snap. North Oldham falls on it, but not before they lose almost 10. And that's just crippling if you're the Mustangs. They've just been going backwards for most of the night.
3rd and 20. We've said that before.
So anything they gain off that bootleg play is gone. It is 3rd and double sticks. Back at the 20. 3rd and 18. They decline a penalty there. Rightfully so. Do the Warhawks. 7:40 to play. 4th quarter. Great Crossing defense trying to close this out. They've got North Oldham pinned back at the 20. 3rd and long. Quarterback running for his life, and he won't get back to the line of scrimmage. Another tackle for loss. Several Warhawks in there.
I think Lacosco.
Lacosco is there. Fisher, Combs, bunch of bodies coming away.
You ain't going to fool Lacosco.
No, he has a nose for the football.
He sure does.
He's not the biggest guy on the defense, but they can use him in a lot of different ways. You see him moving around during the snap count. High snap, punter brings it down.
Pretty good punt.
Bird diving forward, kind of dangerous, but he covers it up at the North Oldham 46 with 6:41 to play. Great Crossing trying to drain some time now with a short field. Maybe they can kill 2 birds with 1 stone and put some more points on the board and put this thing out of reach.
That ground game going right now.
That's what you need to do. They just have not been able to in any conventional fashion. They've lost.
Perry's back at quarterback. We're going to see the option
Perry's in the way.
package.
That might be the best policy, to churn out yards and keep the clock going. They had some success with Caden Allen, but it was set up by the pass earlier. They don't have Wilson. They don't have Patterson. Cobbins is in the game as the lone setback, but it is Perry on the keeper. And he gets stacked up for a loss. Second effort almost got him back to the line of scrimmage, but he gets pushed out of bounds at the 46. Second and 11. They rule it inbounds because the clock is still running.
It's a tough play into the boundary. Not a lot of room over here.
Now it's the short side. The ball's on the left hash mark. Perry again. Allen in the backfield. Harris in motion. They give it to Allen. Surges forward for maybe a couple to the 44. 3rd and 9. Under the 6-minute mark.
Making a 3rd and 9 for the Warhawks.
Third and long has been a familiar refrain tonight. They're going to call timeout and talk it over with 5:17 remaining in the game. It's a big play. Great Crossing leads 15-7, but wants more. Also don't want to put their defense in a bad spot. What are you calling here?
Perry.
Safe to say.
They've done a great job of bottling him up, but, you know, he is
he's a playmaker,
he's
as
a
we saw
playmaker.
just moments ago when maybe just like a fumble Rooski or something.
There you go.
then let him go. Replay that punt again.
They're bringing Gabe back in, looks like. Bringing Nichols in.
Yeah, it does appear that way. So he's thrown such a good ball tonight.
Yeah,
But this is a passing situation.
If they'll
so
give him time, he can do some damage to him right
if he
here.
gets any length of time.
They're only needing 9 yards here. You may look to throw that little hot pass like he has earlier over here to Peyton Harris. And I wouldn't be afraid, if I'm going to throw the ball, I wouldn't be afraid to go up top with it again and down the sidelines on those corners.
Perry not in the game right now. Nichols rolling out, scrambling, fires it away. It could be picked off. Is it caught?
No,
it's on the
dropped it.
ground. Incomplete. It's kind of a jump ball.
He had him on the go over there again, and the offensive line just allowed the pressure to get to him again. He didn't have time to set his feet and throw the ball.
Mason Wiley, the intended receiver, but North Oldham had just as good a shot at picking it up. 5:08, the clock stops, and Perry will try to pin him. He's done that once tonight. It was paid off with a safety shortly thereafter. Perry just will kick it through the end zone, I think. That's probably not what you wanted there, but 20 is good. They've still got to go 80 yards.
He got every bit of it.
He killed it.
Perry's block covered 44 yards plus.
Yeah, that's a net 25-yard punt.
All right, defense.
Yeah, do what you've been doing all night and get out of here with the dub. North Oldham has to go 80 yards. Their only score, they had to go 26. So I don't even know if they have 80 yards total offense in the game again.
No, I bet they don't. They've had too many minus yardage plays.
They were playing against the Great Crossing defense that allowed a whopping 2 yards last week.
Sweep, trap.
You don't run a whole lot of different plays out of this, do they?
There's the sweep.
It's the sweep coming at us. Becerra does not get back to the line of scrimmage. Tripped up for a loss. There's a late flag. Combs there. And now we got someone cramping up again. Frazier was there. Fisher was there. It's a North Oldham player down. See what the flag is all about.
Trainer Kayla's had her work tonight.
She has gotten in her steps. It's a good time to mention Great Crossing High School holds the safety of its student athletes first and foremost. They are proud to partner with Bluegrass Orthopedics and athletic trainers Kayla Hanson and Ansley Swan to provide sports medicine coverage for all athletic programs. Kayla and Ansley can be found on the sidelines at all practices and games. Thank you, BGO, for the care and service you provide for the young people in our community. The player from North Oldham walking off. It's number 66, Tom Stevens. He's a junior.
BGO does a great job. It's always reassuring as a coach, know you got that type of medical personnel on your sidelines on Friday nights.
That is for sure. Penalty was on Great Crossing. I don't know if that was a face mask or if it was a sideline situation or what. I did not see the signal. They're first and 10 at the 34, so that's a break for North Oldham. 4:53 remaining. Still advantage Warhawks with their defense.
I think it may have been a personal foul just watching Coach Bowen.
Yeah,
one of the players.
they gave him the zero tolerance warning earlier. So, shotgun snap, the throw right side, jump ball overthrown. Coverage from Bird. The intended receiver was Hudson. He's been quiet tonight.
Quarterback's got a quick trigger after Fisher and Frazier's got a hold of him 2 or 3 times tonight. He didn't much more than look.
Jace Bullock does not want any part of Mr. Fisher.
That came out of the hand very quickly.
As if they're going to hit me, it's going to be a penalty. 2nd and 10. Not much time move there. 4:33. He's going to run for his life again. Fisher with the hat trick. 3rd sack of the night for Big O. And if this score holds, he's going to be your Ozer Paint and Flooring player of the game. Unblockable.
Once he gets his sights on you, you're in trouble. It's like a big old snake chasing you.
He just gets you in his sights and his clutches.
Python. Third and 18.
That's been the story. He gets rid of it, but it's picked by Drake Bird. What a game he's had. He's got one man to beat, takes it to the house. Touchdown, Great Crossing, 45-yard interception return, pick 6, Drake Bird.
Drake made a heck of a play on it, but we still have to give credit to that defensive line and Fisher because that quarterback was getting rid of the ball. He didn't much more than even look out there before he threw the pass.
Drake Bird has had himself a game tonight, too. I'd love to cut this trophy in half.
Yeah, Drake's played a marvelous game. Did a great job. Had some big hits. Nice special teams play, returns, and that was a beautiful pick 6 right there. That has sealed the game.
Yeah, that is game, set, match with 3:35 to play. This North Oldham offense is not going to put that many points on the board in that much time. Perry holding for Harold. We've got flags down. PAT will have to wait a second. They will move it half the distance as North Oldham jumped. Make it a little even shorter for the sophomore kicker, Jack Harold.
Good.
It's good, and it's 22-7. Great crossing with 3:35 to play. Certainly an impressive night on the defensive side of the football once again for the Great Crossing Warhawks.
I was watching, talking about Fisher again. I was watching that left tackle blocking Fisher, and Fisher literally was behind him before the tackle ever got up, got his feet set to pass block.
He's going to look at the film on Sunday afternoon and go, at least I don't have to play him again this year.
They got Fisher again.
And whoever I face from Oldham County or wherever is not going to be like that. The crowd has been entertained. It was slow going early. It was 7-2 until the very final second of the first half, and Great Crossing took a lead that it has only expanded upon. And it is 3:35 away from a 2-0 start. 22-7 your score. They'll be at Henry Clay next week. 6A opponent in the big city. They've been in a little bit of a valley as a program in recent years, but no reason to expect they won't come out fighting. Harold's short kick angled toward the sideline, caught as he ran out of bounds. I think it might have gone out of bounds first because they threw a flag.
Waving it off.
Yeah. Either way, right around the 40, just spot the ball and go.
That's right.
We got a late start to this game, a little after 8 o'clock. So here we are at close to 10:30 now with 3:35 remaining.
Past my bedtime.
I was, not so much mine, but like we were talking off camera before the game, bedtime's different when you're a retired coach, right?
That's right.
You can sleep as late as you want.
Yeah, I'll be all right tomorrow morning.
You'll live.
Got to get up for the college game tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, finally. College football. Here's a nice spin up the middle for some positive yardage by Mac Pyle. He's a sophomore. It's his 4th or 5th carry of the night. He picks up 4. But time's a wasting if you're North Oldham.
Yeah, them not being able to throw the ball has really put them in a bad position with 3:13 left in the game. That quarterback may be just thinking we ought to keep it on the ground.
He's like, please don't make me throw.
Let's just run this clock.
Please, coach. Are you sure? Yeah, he hands it off. Becerra this time gets up. He's fighting hard. You got to give North Oldham credit. Over the 45, close to the marker. Mustangs got their first touchdown of the season tonight on a pass play early to take a 7-2 lead that held up for a while, as we said. But big touchdown catch from Jacob Coulter, and then another big catch by Zachary Kelly, setting up a short run by Caden Allen. And then most recently, the pick 6 by Drake Bird, immediately following the 3rd sack of the night by Orion Fisher. Those have been your playmakers tonight for the Warhawks. Ball's on the ground again. Another errant snap. That's got to be close to double digits.
Yeah, I think it does.
It just puts you in such a bad situation, down and distance-wise, especially when it happens on first down.
That's the thing about the shotgun offense. You and I were talking about it before. You better have one of your very best offensive linemen snapping that football, because if you can't get the snap, then
This time it's the receiver that gets popped. The quarterback does get rid of it. He completes it to Wetzel. Looks like Jarvay Ray made the stick over there. He held on at the 45 of Great Crossing, so it will be 3rd and 4. 1:40 to play. Quarterback scrambling again, gets rid of it, throwing across his body. Incomplete. 4th down, and if they don't get it here, it should be victory formation, I would think. Although North Oldham does have 2 timeouts. Last week, the offense kind of stole the show, although the Warhawks were strong in all phases. Tonight, the defense has taken a stand. And they're going to get the final word here as a tackle for loss, fittingly, will put the icing on the cake. Caden Allen doing the dance of joy as he was coming up from the pile. Great Crossing will take over at its own 47 with 1:23 to play. They'll probably have to snap it a couple more times depending on what North Oldham does with its timeouts. I would think they would want to get on the bus and head on back to the Louisville area.
Well, we've seen 2 pretty solid defenses play tonight.
I should say I'm impressed with both, especially, again, Great Crossing. Handoff up the middle. Tyrus Cobbins. That is the concern going forward is the running back depth chart. They've got Cobbins and Allen that are healthy, but they don't. I think they like to minimize Allen's touches because of what he does defensively.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot more of Perry in the Wildcat, I believe. So it'll have a lot of last year's flavor offensively for a while. It's similar to Broughton last year. Nichols can throw a good ball. Cobbins will take the handoff again. The ball is on the ground. That's what you don't want here in the final seconds of the game. Looks like Great Crossing has recovered. Clock briefly stopped at 35 seconds. And don't think they'll have to snap it again. That should do it as the final seconds tick away. We'll mention once again that your Ozer Paint and Flooring player of the game is Orion Fisher with 3 sacks. Defense got it done tonight. A pick 6 is from Drake Bird as Coach Bowling exhorting the crowd. They've given up 9 points in 2 weeks, have the Warhawks. And the touchdown tonight was against a short field. A good win at home to go 2-0. Now they'll hit the road. Will the Warhawks to go to Henry Clay next week? Any final words, Coach, on this one?
Nope. Good game defensively, and Great Crossing did what they had to do to win the ball game. And kudos to Fisher and the defense for what they were able to do tonight. Like you said, other than the short field, they pretty much shut North Oldham's offense down. See a lot of improvement in both teams, I'm sure, but especially the Great Crossing teams in between week 2 and week 3, and they'll need to improve in all areas just to be ready for a good Henry Clay. I'm sure they've got athletes.
I think the schedule ramps up. I think Henry Clay will be another step forward in terms of the test, and you're right. I think they have to kind of just continue to take the steps up that ladder as the teams congratulating one another on a hard-fought battle tonight here at Bird's Nest Stadium. That'll be it for Coach Paul Raines. Thank you for joining us again and filling in. We'll have Scotty Sutton back for the rest of the season. Thank you, Brett Smith, in the production booth tonight. And thank you to Mike and James Scoggin for all their ongoing support along with DT Wells. I'm merely Cal Oaks, reminding you to check out news-graphic.com and the printed editions as well on Tuesday and Friday for all the news from Great Crossing and Scott County football. Until 2 weeks from now when we return with another Great Crossing home game. Good night. God bless. We'll be seeing you soon. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you. We'll see you.